All
right, here we go. Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody.
Hello.
What up?
How is everybody doing out there in the world? We are thrilled to be back with y'all.
Yes, we are.
We grabbed our end of the world vehicles. We loaded them up with explosives and weird punk paraphernalia, and we rode ourselves into the Fandome to break down some of this shit for you. That was a Mad Max and like Fandome blend. That was a smoothie of silliness that just happened.
I love it.
So I hope everybody's ready for that. I am amped. To be here, but I got to make sure my co-hosts are also here. And I want to introduce Brian Roush. Brian Roush, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great to be here. I'm excited to talk about DC Fandome. I feel like these are all things that we like and enjoy. So I'm really pumped to talk about all the stuff that we have for today.
Awesome. I'm thrilled you're here as well, Brian. It'll be fun to break it down with you. I ruined Brian's day earlier, and if you're curious about why I ruined Brian's day earlier, I'll be happy to share that in another format. So just message us on Facebook if you want to know why and how I ruined Brian's day. And then we also have to make sure the last piece of this trifecta is complete. Last but not least piece of this trifecta is complete. Marcus J. Destin. Marcus, how you feeling?
I'm ready to podcast.
Yeah.
That is the I'm just here so I don't get fined answer.
Yeah, I'm ready.
He's ready.
I'm ready to podcast.
I too am ready to podcast.
The equivalent of I am Groot is I'm ready to podcast.
I like it.
Basically, that's what it was.
Just get to it.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. So, gentlemen, our score has remained unchanged for Catch That Quotable, and it is in fact spooky season. And last week, so Brian and Marcus are tied, and last week I let Brian kind of dictate how things are going to do. This week, I'm going to kick it on over to one Marcus J. Destin to kind of figure out how things go. And until one of y'all break the tie, we're just going to do this back and forth every week. So, Marcus, kick us off.
I want Doug to go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you all ready?
Ready.
Yeah, ready when you are.
All right. You son of a bitch. You moved the cemetery, but you left the bodies, didn't you? You son of a bitch. You left the bodies and you only moved the headstones. You only moved the headstones. Why? What
the fuck?
I'm gonna read this again.
We already did the Ernest
same
movie.
Amount of gusto. I'm very excited. You son of a bitch. You moved the cemetery, but you left the bodies, didn't you? You son of a bitch. You left the bodies and you only moved the headstones. You only moved the headstones. Why?
Okay, Doug, you're gonna have to sing Jeopardy while we discuss. Here's the thing. Doug does not like scary movies, right?
Right.
So it seems like he's only watching funny, scary movies.
I like that.
So I don't know where this could come from, though, because I've never seen a lot of funny, scary movies.
I mean, I feel like you could do the franchise scary movie, but I feel like that's way too broad for something like this.
That monologue was kind of long, so it causes it's a scene that was deliberately set.
Well, and I thought it was a metaphor, but it sounds very literal.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a literal movement of the gravestones, but not the bodies. What's the hint?
Yeah.
Your hint is clown.
Could be anything.
It really could. I mean, it's spooky. It's spooky season, and clowns tend to rear their ugly head during spooky season. So it literally could be anything.
It would be 2 on the nose, even if it's Poltergeist. That's 2 on the nose. I was thinking Haunted Mansion,
Okay.
But then he said "son of a bitch," and I was like, that's
several times.
not gonna be in that movie. So
Yeah, I mean Eddie did some things, but he didn't take it that far. This wasn't Eddie Murphy's Raw, but Haunted Mansion,
clowns.
which I'd pay to see though.
Clowns? I don't know. I have no idea. Brian, you got anything?
Scary Movie 2. I don't know.
Brian, this is not Scary Movie 2.
Fuck.
What is it?
Scary Movie 2. What is it?
It's not fucking around.
Just kind of over it. Just kind of over it.
What is it then?
I didn't even guess. Poltergeist?
It is Poltergeist. Good guess.
Is it really?
It absolutely is.
Wow.
I talked about this movie with my wife tonight.
Wow.
Incredible.
It is that movie. So fun
Wow.
fact, my dad at my 10th birthday rented that movie. That birthday was a sleepover, and he rented that for a room full of 7 10-year-olds to watch, and it scared the shit out of me. So
You know what? After meeting your dad, that makes perfect sense.
Yes. Oh yeah, it absolutely does.
That aligns with his MO.
That's a Joe Wagner move for sure.
Oh, for sure. Shout out to Joe Wagner.
Yep, it was Poltergeist. Well, good guess. You broke the time, Marcus. Good work.
Well done, Marcus.
I definitely said that it was not that. So that's really interesting.
I was kind of hoping you would have went with something different so we could have that surprise, but I'm glad you got it.
You got me. I was chomping at the bit to know what this was. I was like, whatever, Marcus. I need to know. I need to know.
What is it? What is it?
Marcus, who would you like to go next?
Brian, let's have Brian go next.
Oh boy. All right. All right.
What is going on in this bottom square?
It's the bottom square is the weird square, I think.
Hey,
boy.
you leave this bottom square alone. All right. Here we go. Here we go. This is going to be an exchange. So person one, where was it when you found it? Person two, it was over our bed. Person one, where was it when you found it? Person two, it was over our bed. And that's her quote.
You know what I think? I think I have an idea of what this is.
I feel like I have an idea of what it is as well. But it's also there were a lot of this kind of movie that was out at this time, so I can't quite place it.
Seems like we're on the same page. I feel like we might be thinking of the same.
I think we might be thinking of the same
universe, the same series. But
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Dome. What do we got?
Brian, what's the hint, Brian?
Yeah, what's your hint, Brian?
Brian ain't even giving us a hint. He's like, "What do we got?
What do we got? What's your guess? Move this shit along. I got stuff to do today."
What the hell? Boy, what do we got?
The hint is gonna be Ghost Hunters.
So this is definitely in the realm of the movie. How specific do we have to be, Brian?
What?
Okay.
I mean, you have to name the movie.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I mean, yes.
Let me go first.
Doug, what were you thinking? I'm interested to see what you were thinking.
Brian, is this Paranormal Activity?
You nailed it.
Yeah, that's exactly. So that's what I was wondering. Did we have to say Paranormal Activity 1, Paranormal Activity?
Man. Well, I feel
so
like
many iterations of that movie.
We have to discuss as a group.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't want to open up any cans.
I didn't say it. I didn't say those two words.
I'm gonna leave it there. We're just gonna leave it there.
Bitches,
all right, Marcus, take us home.
All right. Here we go. This guy, fucking butterscotch candy. I'm gonna butterscotch my foot in somebody's head.
Hey, you said that, not me.
Okay, here we go. Okay. I can't do that one. It's too much cussing. I'm sorry. I got to change it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, sorry. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
All right. Marcus is just laughing at his phone for everybody listening at home.
Okay,
this is really great for an audio format.
Here we go. Sorry, my bad. Okay. I'm just gonna read it the way it is. Okay,
let's read it.
I'm gonna cuss. Okay,
that's right. Okay,
here we go. You stupid bitch, you filthy slut. Teach you to fuck with me. All right, one more time. You stupid bitch, you filthy slut.
That's it.
Oh
Okay.
You stupid bitch.
And we're doing scary movies, right?
Scary movie.
Oh.
I feel like that's not fair to y'all.
No, it's fine.
Is that fine?
You picked it. It's fine.
Okay, I'll read you another one. Here, I'll give you another one. Here we go.
Okay.
We're friends to the end, remember? We're friends to the end. This is the end, friend.
Okay.
Wait, are these? Is this a whole separate quote from a whole separate movie?
Sorry, because I felt like the first one. No,
Okay.
This same movie.
Same movie.
I gave you a different quote.
Okay.
I felt like the first one wasn't fair
Because the other one was a little tough.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a movie that just lines up that many, curse words like that. That's a scary movie. It's not like The Grudge.
No. I'm trying to think about like. I mean, that was a very comedic quote, but I'm trying to figure out whether or not it was supposed to be comedic.
That's what I was just about to say.
Because if it's supposed to be serious, then I'm lost. But if it's supposed
I
to be
agree.
comedic, I have a shot in the dark, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
All right, Marcus. What is our one word? What's our hint?
Please don't try to interrupt the Jeopardy song to ask for your hint. Please let
Doug,
the Jeopardy
that is
song
disrespectful.
Sheesh. What's up with y'all? The hint is ugly.
Ugly.
I don't know. I'll get is I don't know. Is this Shaun of the Dead?
No, it is not.
All right.
Great guess.
Marcus, is this Annabelle?
It is not. Close.
Okay.
But great guess. This
Okay.
is Child's Play.
Yeah.
Kind of. I
one.
felt like the reason I picked the first quote because that aligns with Chucky's MO of that aggressive doll that's just
true
on the fucking loose. And then
Yep.
the reason I did ugly was because that's the reoccurring joke the entire movie is somebody looking at the doll and saying, "Ooh, an ugly doll," and he's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, that's he can't.
No, I believe Chucky would say those things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yes.
I also, fun fact, talked about this today on our TikTok page, but that movie is actually inspired by true events.
Is it really?
Yep. So in 1909, there was a painter in the Florida Keys who said that he felt like one of his housekeepers put a curse on a doll, and he would report that this doll would walk through the house, it would move the furniture, it would have full-blown conversations with him. Freaked him out so much he puts it in his attic, and then 1974, 1975 he dies. New family moves in, finds this thing in the attic, and reports similar instances of having conversations with it, and 100%. So, and they so when they made the movie, they kind of drew some inspiration from that kind of tale.
I'll tell you why I picked that quote. I absolutely hate that movie.
Really?
It scared the shit out of me. I just could not watch it. It was just as I think as young as I was when that movie came out, that movie scared the hell out of me. I can't really tell you what it was that really shook me, but it just scared me.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question. So when it comes to scary movies, what do you all find more scary? Do you find paranormal ghost stuff scary? Do you find demonic almost exorcist stuff type scary? When you talk about scary things, what scares you the most, or what has typically scared you the most when it comes to movies?
For me, I think it's more not Paranormal Activity, but more Insidious and possessions and demons, because that stuff to me is very real. So it's that stuff you can actually believe in that. So for me, that makes it more scary. The other stuff Scream and all the slasher films are more just jump scares, and it's what the hell? Yep. So although those are more realistic because people could actually do shit like that. So I shouldn't be just as scared, but
yeah. I've actually been thinking a lot about this because I've been watching the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix.
I've been saying that.
Yeah, and I think for me, the most scared I have been as I'm thinking back is Midsummer, Hereditary, and the 2003 Texas Massacre. Those three movies rank up as the most I've been scared, and I think it's I think they're what's that?
Those are thrillers.
I mean, I'd say they're I would call them horror thrillers because there's, I mean, it goes beyond just being uncomfortable. Like it is. To me, it is horror in the sense that like you are horrified of the things you are seeing like
100%.
on the screen. I would say Texas Chainsaws, the 2003 one, is almost more thriller and just gory, like a gory thriller.
Yeah.
I think Midsummer though, I get drawn to these more mental movies of just like this is something isn't right. Like that's what I get drawn into, and it has a little bit more of a runway. Like you have to really buy into the concept, but like for something like Hereditary or Midsummer, you're just kind of like, I have no idea what's going on here, and like nothing can control it. And I think maybe you're learning a little bit about me, but like quite literally, there's just enough chaos that like you can't really get a handle on it. And by the time you figure out what's happening, it's too late.
Yep.
That's why I really dig that Hereditary and Midsummer vibe, and then Texas Chainsaw, because like it would be absolutely terrifying to be running around a cornfield with a dude with a chainsaw just chasing. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Also drawn from true events. Just
yes. Isn't that originally based on a guy in Wisconsin? Am I remembering this right?
In the 50s. Yes. So basically he got interviewed by the police. And he admitted to killing one guy. And then basically throughout the investigation, police like went into this Ed Gein's house.
Yeah.
And they found like a waste paper basket made out of human skin from bodies he had exhumed, like a lampshade made from that type of stuff. He had skulls and trophies like all over his house. And so they used that sort of inspirationally in the original, which came out in the 70s, I think. So,
yep.
All right. Well, we should probably head to the Fandome at this point.
Well, what about you, Doug?
Here's what I will say for me. I probably skew a little bit more towards Marcus when it comes to like that type of stuff, like as far as what's scared. Both of
Marcus is looking for the door.
Brian is like, fuck, catch that quotable. Let's get through this. And Marcus is like done with horror movies. Fandom.
Well, let's the way Brian reads enough books to know how to paint a picture very well.
Yes.
And so now I'm like looking behind my shoulder, like, yeah, you're right. Midsummer was kind of a scary. Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
just enough of something uncomfortable. Yeah.
But for me, like, in order for it to be scary, I have to really believe that could happen. Like if it's like well done, that type of like possession ghosty type stuff, like the Amityville Horror, the one with Ryan Reynolds, scared the shit out of me. Like
I did not see that. I refused to see that as a kid.
I think I started watching that one but did not finish it.
It gets really like creepy and makes me very like terrified immediately, because I'm always the type of kid, and maybe you all were like this too, like we all like probably like ran up from our basement really fast because we thought something was behind us.
The skeletons are gonna get you.
The only thing that scares me is racism.
Well, I didn't ask them, but maybe they were racist skeletons. Mark, I don't know. I don't know.
That's true.
Look, if they're skeletons, they were probably put there in the mid like 1920s to 1930s. I think it's fair to say they were racist. I think it's fair to make that assumption. But yeah, I still run up from the basement like, oh God, what's that? Like, and I still take off. So yeah, that's me. But in order to give both Brian and Marcus what they want, let's, gentlemen, head down to DC's Fandome.
We're going to Fandome
to talk about all the news that came out this weekend. And I actually would like, because I think, Marcus, you watched a lot of this stuff in real time, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So what I would actually prefer is I would like you to kick us off with either the piece of news that jumped out to you the most, or just the one thing that you really wanted to chat about as far as the breakdown of that is concerned.
Sure. So I had my TV going. I am currently starting Brooklyn Nine-Nine over from the beginning.
Oh, wow.
So, I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and kind of had my phone on low until I saw something that I wanted.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And this one, if anybody remembers us, if you've been like listening to us for a while, we did the DC Fandome last year, and DC Fandome last year was a lot longer. It felt like, it felt like that thing was 3 days long.
Yeah,
I actually think
wasn't it 3 days?
I think it was actually 3 days long.
Started Friday evening with some stuff, but they saved their big announcements for like Saturday afternoon, like midday.
So this one was only just 1 day long, and I think it was over the span of maybe like a couple hours, maybe like 4 hours or something like that. And so they did a lot. I had panels and movies and all this other stuff like that. I kind of feel like we're all going to talk about the same thing.
Sure.
Here's what I'll say. we all know the Batman trailer is great.
Yeah,
that's probably the best fucking thing to hit the panel. Not what I'm talking about right now.
That's good.
Fine. That's fine. We can say that.
Here's what I'm going to talk about. The shit that keeps getting renewed and DC and this halfway shit. Okay, this is what
Marcus go.
This is what frustrated me the whole time.
Okay,
you have it's a combination. Ezra Miller hops on screen and he says, "Well, we don't really have anything for you." And he's wearing a choker and his blue jean vest. Yep. And he's like, "Hey, here's the background stage and it's dark and we ain't really got nothing, but we threw something together." That shit was a full fucking trailer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that had effects in it.
And it was like a full trailer where the graphics kind of looked good, kind of didn't look good, but you said you didn't have anything for us. They had a lot of Black Adam gave us like a 30-second clip, and I was like, man, you've been working on this for like 7 fucking years, and like that's all that we got for this. It's Shazam. Fury of the Gods was like cool, but I was expecting a lot more in that. I don't even know if we got a full trailer for that. I didn't watch that one.
We didn't.
It was like a couple of scenes, but that was it.
But it was like behind the scenes.
And I know some stills, right? I know there were some stills of like of Lucy Liu and
some we got 4 stills of them and Yep.
And then we get some of the shows that they are starting to introduce, like Batgirl and Blue Beetle. And nobody has really anything. And then they did a 10-minute segment, a 10-minute fucking segment on Grant Gustin getting golden boots as the Flash in season 8.
I do want to talk about that. We're circling back to that.
So it's like that was what frustrated me the most. Was like we got some really good stuff now. The Black Adam stuff looked good. Shazam looked great. And some of even the Aquaman stuff looked really, really good to me. I was like, damn, they really up in their game.
They went all out with that.
They really did go all out with that, and without giving too much away. But my frustration is DC. I feel like they weren't ready for DC Fandome. They just kind of gave everybody a big teaser and did not mention any of the other projects that you mentioned a while ago that were supposed to be in the works. Y'all just covered it up.
Yeah. Where's Our Man? New Gods was canceled.
When he was going to show up.
I need something about Our Man.
No, fucking Titans got renewed for season 4, and I'm struggling to I'm chewing a brick to get through season 3 because of the writing is so terrible.
On Titan season 3, I feel
it was great, and then at some point you'll have like 2 good episodes, and then you'll have 3 episodes after that undoes everything in the first 2. Anyway, that's a different story.
Yes.
My whole thing was with DC Fandome was I think we got some really cool stuff out of it to hold us over, but it just kind of felt like halfway and I wasn't as excited.
I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm glad that this is where we're starting because I kind of got that impression too. And granted, I had to watch everything twice. I kind of watched a little bit of the trailers and stuff on Sunday evening, and then I watched it again today, obviously to prep for the podcast. And I echo that sentiment, Marcus. I wonder what's the strategy here from DC. Like we'd rather show you something than nothing. We invested all this money into Fandome, and we don't really have a lot to show. I'm kind of confused, and then I'm also equally confused. And I'm just going to get this question out of the way. There are a lot of the chatter on online, like on socials and other things like that is like, look at DC. They brought the same gun to the fight that Marvel's bringing. Like Marvel's going to get a run for their money next year because of all the stuff that DC's coming out. And I'm just kind of curious, do you all feel the same way? Or do you think there was enough here to make that judgment?
No,
I don't feel the same way.
No,
I feel honestly, I'll tell you what I feel like. And I am a DC person, and I have been a DC person that is striving and hoping that one day DC can get their live action shit together.
Right.
What this feels like is they did all of this to show us the trailer for the Batman.
Feels that way, yeah.
And I mean, those are the 2 biggest projects, and they were like, look at these 2 biggest projects we've been talking about and been trending online for a long time. We know you're excited. And it was like, oh, and by the way, here's some bullshit in between.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do. What it does feel like is they found some success with Fandome last year. I feel like we should acknowledge that in this space because to me, that was the first time I feel like someone had figured out how to do an event like that online because that was only like 6 months, I want to say. Like, and when you think about it, like putting an event together that large with that much talent, that's really hard.
Yeah. In the midst of a pandemic where people are burned out from watching screens.
Like,
great point, Brian.
Yeah, like as someone that has put special events together and done online conferences and stuff like that, that's really hard. And I didn't have to work with any agents. Like I can't imagine the scheduling nightmares for half these people.
That's a very good point, Brian.
And so I think they found some success. My guess is when they went to the post, like to the debrief, they're like, this does not need to be 3 days. I am so tired. You know, like they figured that out and they're like, let's just make it 1 day. And I feel like what they did was instead of like focusing on like, hey, here's the new stuff, they really just leaned into what they had, which I think it works for like the news cycle.
Yeah,
I think it works for that. People are going to be sharing that Batman trailer. People are going to be hyped about it. I think even the Flash stuff by proxy with Batman, like
that's fair.
It was a good day for Batman fans on Saturday.
Meanwhile, Superman ain't get shit.
But like for people, I think for people wanting anything else other than Batman, there wasn't a whole lot. Like I think we have some bright spots, right? Like I do think that you know, we're getting a Wonder Woman crossover in the comics from our friend of the podcast, Stephanie Williams. Super excited to see what that looks like. I actually thought there was a Wonder Woman crossover, by the way. Like I was like, this comic's been around for like almost 80 years. Surely we've had a crossover like this. No, so it is long overdue. And I really liked seeing like some of the animation stuff that they had. Like I'm super into that, but I know that's not going to make a big splash with everybody. And I think inevitably going back to your point, Doug, which is where I started, like the Marvel DC comparisons, like DC immediately starts losing ground when they start comparing themselves to Marvel.
I think they should avoid that argument entirely.
Like, and I feel like that's this best centerpiece of that is this Robert Pattinson Batman. It's not connected to anything. It just looks like a good Batman film.
Well, to that point, Brian, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
that was good. That was a good transition.
Like, I think the other thing that DC did, which is fine, and it just further puts a nail in the coffin on the direction that they want to go, they really doubled down on this is the multiverse. This is going to be separate from this, and literally said it like verbatim. Like, and this is the DC multiverse where this Aquaman anime or this Superman, which they did a lot of things animation style that is like Japanese anime. Superman gets one, Catwoman gets one.
I noticed that
Aquaman kind of gets one, or like more of a I forgot that show that was on Cartoon Network with Jake and Finn. But so like you have all of these characters that exist together and like all these different animation styles. They really were like, this is the multiverse where this Batman and Matt Reeves Batman will exist, and the Flash may do something or may not do something with this terrible fucking cow that he had. Adventure Time. Thank you. Adventure Time is the stylized like the new Aquaman show on HBO Max. So like that's all I was saying. They really try to stick to this multiverse thing.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like that is their strength, and I feel like they're trusting their audience. Like I think that is very prevalent, which I mean, Marvel could learn a thing from, because it was 100%. Just like, here's Robert Pattinson Batman. We know you understand that that's a different Batman than what's in the Flash, like the Flash movie. And here's animated Batman. You all understand those are different things, and we're moving on. Like they didn't spend any time with that.
They pose a new question now, and now the question is, well, which Batman? So then Batgirl came out, and the director was like, the real Batman will show up in this movie. And now they just raise more questions of like, okay, which Batman is that? Is it Keaton, or is it like? So that's the only downside of things. But Doug, what did you think?
I agree with the points that y'all made. I think one of the things that, and kind of to Brian's point where he was like, Marvel could learn a thing about having some flexibility. I mean, I've had this conversation with myself. I've had this conversation with you all before of like, oh, I really like this person for this role, but they've already been in the MCU before, so we can't. Like, and so I appreciate the strategy that DC seems to be taking, which is this is a multiverse. Like, if I feel like Michael Keaton in a different movie could play the Joker, fuck it, I can do that. Like, it's fine. And they feel like they can do that, and they can feel empowered to do that, which I think is really a cool strategy to employ. I do agree, though, like it does feel like they tried to make this a shorter thing. And my guess is they probably had, they can't get HBO Max streaming numbers for things like, Justice League, but they can get streaming numbers for how many people stayed on for all of Fandome and went, wow, it's a lot shorter. Let's make the event shorter. And I didn't actually get to watch it live. So I guess my question is, Marcus, did they have a lot of the like because one of the things I really liked about the Wonder Woman panel was that last year, I remember, is they did a lot of like really cool, like, and this is the community behind Wonder Woman that's really important. Was there as much of that this time or not so much?
I think there was it's just as much.
Okay.
Everything that they did really revolved around, these are the people who play these characters we love, and here's their insight on it. So, for example, Static Shock, Milestone Comics, and all of these other, Milestone getting rebooted.
Yeah,
they sat with the two creators of Milestone, the original creators and writer, and just talk with them about what Milestone is and what's coming up and all of that kind of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah,
which DC does really good at. Which I feel like Marvel, they do these more cinematic, shows and shorts on here's what it's like to be behind the scene at Disney and Marvel. Whereas DC is like, hey, here are the actual creators giving you the insight on why we made Superman bisexual or why we made Superman change. Here's fucking Jim Lee telling you why we made it for a better tomorrow instead of this thing. Like,
that was a huge, that was a big,
I think that was a bigger point than people thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, and for people that don't know, so they're changing Superman's motto again. Yep. If you didn't know, this is like the latest iteration to for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
And it used to be for truth, justice, the American way.
Sure did. Which that's your World War II propaganda coming at you.
Because he's a superhero who, which if you look at old Superman comics, he's always posing in front of an American flag or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But Superman is a hero who saves the world.
Yep.
Not just America. So,
well, and I feel like a lot of people, like, that wasn't always his motto. Like, that's not even what it started with either. And I feel like this is like a really good time. I feel like it's a really good time for like people who listen to us to like really interrogate some of the things that they enjoy and like look at the time that they were written. Like Superman was written in the 30s before World War II even happened. So like seeing how they change it, especially with the Red Scare, like that was super influential with that too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find his original slogan because there was one even before. It was one even before the American way, and I think it's and tolerance. I honestly think that's what it is. It's truth, justice, and tolerance. I think is what it is. Which again, written in the 1930s. What could possibly be going on there?
That's a very good point.
So I just wanted to bring people up to speed in case they didn't know as you were talking about that, Marcus.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. No, that was great.
But you're right. I think you're right. And I think that is what separates it. There is, having watched some of those behind the scene things that Marvel and AKA Disney have put together, it feels a little impersonal. Like it's hard to connect because it's very dramatized. And I do appreciate these moments. And I suppose that comparison between the two, which is never a good comparison to make. But if I'm going to, that comparison between the two, DC puts creators at the forefront and says, this is the conversation. We want you to see these people, which is really, really cool and can be really, really insightful for folks going forward. So
truth, tolerance, and justice.
There it is. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah. Well, good. Well, and I wanted to ask that question just because of what I had seen on, like I said, on Twitter and on TikTok and elsewhere, like shortly after some of these announcements were made. But let's kind of get into some of the nitty gritty a little bit. And I kind of want to start, I'm going to save Batman for last, just because I feel like that was such a highlight and we could spend probably the most amount of time on that. But what I want to start with first is I would like to start with Peacemaker, just because it seems a little bit easier to start with TV, and I feel like Peacemaker is going to be one of those things that people like maybe write off, or it might fly under the radar. But when I saw that trailer, I mean, I think so, just because there's no big superhero or supervillain tied to it.
I think
maybe, and that's just my thought.
No, go ahead.
And that's just my thought of like. Without the appearance of like a Superman or a Batman or even some of the I don't want to say B squad heroes, but other members of the Justice League, other members of the Justice
they
League.
know
Like,
too. It's okay.
It says it's on their Justice League card.
After Wonder Woman, like some of those other ones, like people tend to not get
Arsenal. Arsenal's not hanging out at the Watchtower thinking he's like on the A team. Okay, like
there's a boy.
Not,
there's a reason he cut his arm off. That's man, there's a reason he could slice that shit right off.
But I feel like sometimes those series have a harder billing sometimes, and maybe that's just my thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but
no, I don't know.
I thought the series looked really, really good, and fucking shout out to John Cena who went for it.
He did.
So that was just my thought, but I'm curious y'all's thoughts.
For me, I feel like this character is, I feel like this may be a 1 season thing, right?
Oh,
which is
sure.
perfectly fine. And it'll lead into something else possibly.
Oh, sure.
And it'll introduce some other things in there, which I think their panel I really enjoyed because they really praised the lead. It's a character that James Gunn created specifically for this show. I have to look it up, but she's a Black woman. And they were like giving her all the praise about how well she did. I mean, and it seemed like it was all genuine, like they really enjoyed each other, not like one of those fake, like, like we just did this just to do
I really loved working with so and so. He was
not like the Law and Order SVU folks. I'm like, we've been doing this for 20 years. What do you want us to say?
So, like, I don't know. This show could get missed because if you did not watch the Suicide Squad, you do not know who Peacemaker is or what he's about.
Yeah.
And I feel like because I watched that movie first, it gives me a little bit more tie into. He's kind of like more Deadpoolish, like in the nitty gritty gun shooting, like, and the jokes and kind of shit. So maybe people will like that part to have a DC counterpart to that.
That's a good point
in their universe.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So I don't know.
And Leota. Danielle Brooks is playing Leota, who is a brand new character, but it appears that she is being the foil to Peacemaker. At least that's what I got from the trailer. And I don't know. I was very concerned about this series when it was announced. I want to say like 6-7 months ago, because I was like, do we need more of this? I don't know. Like, I don't know if we need another white hyper violent protagonist, but like, if you're going to do it, this is the way to do it based on what I've seen in the trailer. It's like, obviously there's hyper violence, which I have no problem with. I am entertained by this, but it does appear to be an interrogation of like, why are you like this? Like, something's wrong with you, and acknowledging like, this is not someone to look up to. He has issues. And then also pairing it with a supporting cast that is not like, they're not like floundering around. They're very clearly competent, and Peacemaker is like, he is almost like, it appeared in some of the trailer shots that they had in some of the sequences that he was supporting their performance rather than vice versa. So I thought this was going to be DC's take on Punisher, and it does not appear that way. And I'm really excited to see what they have. I'm really interested. And I agree, Doug. I feel like this could fly under people's radars because, like, I feel like Suicide Squad was a very acquired taste. And then on top of that, you're asking people like, hey, so Suicide Squad, and then they're going to be like, well, which one? And then they're going to be like, okay, so Peacemaker, and they're going to be like, who? And then it's like, he has a show. So like, you have to get like 3 layers just to like get to the core concept. So I could see it flying under people's radars, but I think it could be something special. I trust James Gunn at this point. I trust him to make something special. Some of us like made sourdough bread during our isolation periods. James Gunn made a HBO Max spinoff series. You all, like, we'll just see how it goes.
Tomato.
Same thing, whatever you got time for.
Sorry, go ahead, Doug.
What I was going to say is I just think, I think in addition, sort of, Brian, to your point, I think some of his more like, I think what makes some of those other characters like Deadpool, and I would even say, and Punisher, and I would even say Homelander to a certain extent, is that they never really have to deal with their more problematic elements. They put them there, and they let you like engage with the character and make up your own mind. I feel like what they might do with Peacemaker is they might like lean into the satirical element with him with a little bit. I mean, the trailer closes with him like hugging a bald eagle. Like, I think there's you can't like look at that and not say, okay, that's a little silly, but what point is that trying to make? So I think that to kind of boost your point. So that's all I was gonna say. So Marcus, go ahead.
No, I don't know. I'm thinking about the series, and now y'all got me thinking. Like, maybe John Cena is the selling point, and James Gunn, because you're right. Suicide Squad was good.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a good movie and executed well.
Man, that was a good movie.
I don't know if everybody really paid attention or will remember it. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
So it's like you do have to but also HBO Max is like Suicide Squad is on our app, and guess what else is on our app? Peacemaker. So watch this and lead directly into that. Now, my question would be: is HBO Max at a point where you are directing people to its app to watch its series?
Oh, man, I'm so glad you brought that up because that was literally going to be my question. Is that like now with theaters and stuff opening back up, they're going to have to wrestle with this? Like they're going to have to wrestle because they can no longer say that's exclusively in theaters and on our app at the same time. They're going to have to drive content that way. So that's a really good question.
Because Marvel, all the things that they just pushed back, part of that in the article I read, they pushed that back because they want more time to work on those pieces of content because they're going exclusively into theaters.
Sure.
Right.
So like that is it. I mean, I guess it's just a perfect moment, like right here. Like
it's a great moment.
Is HBO Max at a point where you can direct them to like a Netflix where we're telling people on Netflix to go watch Squid Games and do it? Is HBO Max at that point?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I feel I guess I'm confident saying they are because I feel like for better or worse, HBO Max has entered the streaming giants conversation just because of 2020. For better or for worse, like they had some bangers. Like they may not be able to boast the same subscriber count, but they have a quality product and they know it.
Yeah.
And I think it's some of the other things too, because while we're over here having this conversation about like Peacemaker and how it'll be received, they also have been pushing, and because I've noticed it a lot more, the House of Dragon, which is a prequel to Game of Thrones, is a huge announcement, and they have mentioned that several times. So I think what we'll probably end up seeing is they will encourage people to go to their app to catch up on some of those things that are coming down the pipeline. So you'll see a lot more advertising of like, want to get more familiar with the Targaryens? Like, we have all of Game of Thrones on here, or what?
They're the dragon people.
They're the dragon. They're the dragon people from Game of Thrones.
You're fine.
Marcus, I didn't make it past season like 3.
Right,
so
I have read all the books and I watched the entire show, so I have feelings.
Okay.
I love Brian.
They're not all bad.
Brian, thanks for doing the work that some of us can't or won't.
Maggie and I devoured this series. I have to let you know. In 2012, we were like, "What's this?" And then like it just took our hand and it squeezed tight and it whispered like, "Follow me." And then after that, we both became Game of Thrones fans. Like at the same time, same trajectory, and like we watched everything together. So like we have done the research for you. Don't worry.
I feel like I'm the dumb jock in the back of class, and like I hear Brian answer a question. I'm like, good for that guy.
He's gonna. Meanwhile, I'm the person who like watched like season 1 and season 2, and they're like, Doug, tell me about this show. I don't know. There are a lot of dicks in it. Like I feel like that's how
you're not
wrong. People like
metaphorically or physically. You're right.
It's like fantasy politics, but there's a lot of dicks in it. Like there was. Like that's how I described it.
You just like half credit because you're not fully wrong. So
I could go on. We should keep talking about.
HBO Max is actually my go-to. I don't look at a lot of Netflix, and the only reason I'm on Hulu right now is watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So like literally the first app that I go to is HBO Max because they have a whole lot of movies. The way that they categorize their movies, fantastic. They even have now a For You section, which is new. So like I didn't see that before. They have a For You section now. And so I don't know. It's good. I hope it does well. I don't know if Peacemaker is the project to boost that, but I think it will do a lot for it because like this is the first time we're seeing the big screen stuff go to the small screen as far as an app, I think.
Yeah. And I think again, to your earlier point of like, where are some of the other projects they announced last year? I mean, it would have been really great to see a Green Lantern Corps update.
I don't understand.
How the fuck did they skip that?
I think
they said like 2 things about it. I'll find it.
But as Brian's looking for that, I mean, they mentioned like, yep, that's going to be an HBO like series that'll be on the HBO Max app. There were other things. And I will say this, like if a lot of that animation ends up going to HBO Max, that's a great way to drive people like me there because that animation is so easy to consume and so fun to consume that I'm excited for more of that stuff. Yeah.
The Aquaman show that looks like Adventure Time is on there. They also released the same time that they had the release on the live stream for the Young Justice season 4 Phantoms, they released the first 2 episodes for that, and I watched those.
That's
so
really
like
cool.
they are, I mean, they're doing it. They're having a wide variety, and they realize their strength. Now, here's what I'll say about HBO Max.
Okay.
They realize their strength in DC.
Yep.
Because they know we are in a superhero world and everybody wants to see live action, whatever, and everything, and superhero everything all the time.
Yeah.
They are striking while the iron's hot. They say, you want a series on this? There's 15 fucking series announced.
Yeah.
And 10 of them are from Batman alone.
Seriously.
So it's like they know their strength. Will it be great? Will it be successful, or will it fail? I don't know, but they definitely recognize like how to keep people's attention on the app.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say that's coupled with when you get tired of that, there's enough other things on there for you to dive into. I mean, I randomly last week watched the last 4 Harry Potter movies just because I could, and because they were easy to find. And by the way, I have a lot of thoughts.
Harry Potter gets dark after the second film.
I also have a lot of thoughts.
When he comes out playing the flute after they come out the maze, what's his name? Fucking the dead body on the ground.
Goblet of Fire. Yeah, no, Goblet of Fire is when it turns. Yeah,
and also, can we just talk for a second about how this kid's parents died, and every motherfucker on the street is like, "Hey, you're the kid whose parents died, right?" That's a shitty thing to say to another human being
all
in the
of that
world.
trauma all the time.
Lead with that.
You shouldn't.
He's
like never.
Harry Potter does all 8 movies with survivor's guilt.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely,
the best way to put it.
Excellent
but yes, that is. So that's going to be the best part about those theories is you can dive into them, and then there's enough there to kind of like keep you on there for other stuff too. So
you all covered it. I just think HBO Max has zeroed in on no, we just have quality stuff. We're not going to have a ton of it, but like when you log on, you're going to like what you see. Yeah. I can't say that for Netflix. I cannot say that for Hulu. Disney Plus, you're like 50-50. Yeah. But that's because you have my favorite franchises, so it's kind of cheating. But
that's true.
Like you log on to Netflix and you're like, I don't understand any of this.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much. So Brian, you are on it today. You're podding.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, look at Brian podding.
Because Disney is 50-50. I mean, let's 100%. Go down the list real quick. Paramount Plus sucks.
That's not even on the radar.
I haven't touched it.
Paid that shit for 3 months, and it was not exciting at all. And then
that's right.
Peacock,
because you wanted to watch the Super Bowl.
I wanted to watch the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and we were paying for this shit. It was like, what the fuck? So Paramount Plus is not that great. Nope. Peacock did not have a lot, and like they also have a weird tier where you get like fuck The Office. As far as it being on a whole separate app for me to watch it, fuck it, because like
it's true.
I'm not gonna go through all that. And then Netflix has too much shit. Disney, I only go to Disney when like maybe if I feel like rewatching like one of my favorites or nostalgia's pulling me 100%. Or like that's really the only time.
Or if your brothers and sisters, or if your brother and sister come over to visit too. Like there's a ton of stuff for kids on there.
But they're at a point where they're watching HBO Max now. So
that's
like,
true though. That's a good point. That's a good point.
But Brian's right.
Yeah. I find that with Netflix. I find Netflix just be so exhausting. Like I log onto it and I'm like, what do I want to watch? Oh, I don't know. Look, it's just like I resign myself.
It's a fucking task looking
there
for
is a reason they put a shuffle button as soon as you log in. There's a very clear reason they did that. And I don't think they're I don't think they see this as a bad thing. They're like, yeah, we got a ton of stuff. Hit the shuffle button. What are you gonna do?
Shit. Yeah.
But apparently, they almost taunt you with it. Like, really, you're that indecisive? You're gonna hit the shuffle button?
Yeah. But hopefully y'all like Squid Game, because that shit made like 960 like.
Oh my gosh, I'm not ready for all the Squid Game
two more seasons of that.
Also, I know we're like super off base here, and then I'll shut up. But like, there's gonna be a United States takeoff on Squid Game, and it's gonna bomb. It's gonna be so bad. I'm not gonna understand the source material.
I call it now. NBC, in a partner with Netflix, will have a Squid Game-esque show, and it will be hosted by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and
like
somebody
completely like Korean cast,
not even remotely close. And they'll call it like Live or Die USA, and that'll be it. And it'll have 3 episodes.
So basically, The Purge. So basically,
filming The Purge.
The Purge. Yeah,
I mean, basically, The Purge will be televised. But gentlemen, let's get back to Fandome because
all right, we're coming back Fandome.
So that was Peacemaker. What else on this end? We've got, like I said, we've got Shazam, we got Aquaman. What are some other things that you all felt really jumped out at you?
Brian, what did you like?
What did I like? I think for me, the thing that jumped out for me, I'm looking at my list here. I'm bringing up my list. I think the thing that jumped out to me was the Flash trailer. I know that they did. Yeah. We talked about this where Ezra Miller's like, we don't really have all that much to show you. Just kidding. Here's a 30-second teaser. I liked what I saw from the Flash. It seems to be going in a creative direction, and it seems like they're willing to play with the time dynamics, which I think is when Flash is at its best is when it's not taking itself too seriously. So I found it interesting that the trailer focused on a lot of Batman stuff. That's not the decision I would have made. But I liked it when they focused on hey, if you're paying attention, there's 3 other versions of the Flash behind him as he's talking, and you got to see the suit. And you're talking about if you can go back and change decisions, would you? I think that's all really meaty stuff for us to explore in a Flash movie. So honestly, it feels like this movie's been in development forever. So it was just really nice to see something. I was excited about that.
Yeah. I like to play this game with y'all, but let's play the speculation game a little bit. Because I rewatched the Flashpoint Paradox, the animated one, which is just
that's intense.
So good. My question is, do you think, because I know that when they initially talked about it and they introduced this concept with the Flash, they said this might have some links to that. What do you think, just based on, I'm asking you to make a synopsis off of a 30-second clip, but for you all, what do you think what direction do you think that this particular movie is going to go, given the multiple versions of the Flash and the fact that you're seeing a Michael Keaton Batman?
Well, Brian?
What direction is it going to go? I still think that DC wants to give the impression they're rebooting everything.
Oh, sure.
And do a fresh start. So I think that they're going to lean really heavily into just choices and what does that look like for a new day. I feel like that's the direction they're going to go. Are they going to be successful? I don't know, but I feel like that's where we're headed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's definitely, I think that's not going to be as close to Flashpoint as I think as some people.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No. I don't think it can be.
That question directly. I think the only thing they're going to take from Flashpoint is things were like this. Now they're like this. I think that's the only thing they're going to take.
And Batman looks a little different. I think that
Batman looks cool with this new outfit. The Flash, I feel like that's all they're going to take from Flash.
It was the pose that killed me.
The Flash.
The Flash.
For everybody listening at home, I put my arms on my hips like I was finishing a sales presentation.
That's basically how the Flash on CW starts. My name's Barry Allen, and I'm the Flash.
Okay. Or you know what? Sign up for the Patreon to see Brian's fun poses.
Sign up for the Patreon. For me, I'll be honest. I like the suit in the concept art. Did not like the suit in the trailer. It looked too CGI-ish for me. And the cowl, I was not a fan of the cheekbone cowl.
Sure.
The way that it just keeps, it's this little piece that's right there on the edge of the cheek, and I just feel like that looks like a World War II helmet.
Wow.
I'm just not a fan of that. Now, what I did find interesting is there are 2 berries. 2 berries and 1 Supergirl. So I just wanted to throw that correction in there. Oh my
God, that's right.
That's a good point. Good call.
I forgot about that entirely.
She is in the background for people that may
have missed that. Supergirl. That's totally
Supergirl. Yep. And so, and of course, Brian's right. They did tease the Batman thing because that is their bread. Batman is the bread and butter.
I guess so.
All of this was not DC Fandome. This was Batman Batdome.
I was just going to say welcome to DC's Batdome.
That's all of this. Because half of the content that they're talking about stems from Batman. If you really just think about it, it deeply, I'm sure you can play 6 Degrees of Separation in some extent where it relates back to Batman. I like this trailer. It had a lot of teases in it. it seems very dark. It seems like, you know, you can have those goofy moments in there, but obviously they're trying to treat this as, like Brian said, a reboot. Does the Flash live past this, though? Is Ezra Miller still the Flash past this? Does this set up Justice League? They said he's supposed to be visiting different timelines. Do I want to sit through this was the question that I asked myself.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I've seen the story of Flash Paradox told many times, whether it was in the comic books or it was in the Barry Allen version on the CW or it was on the animated version. And, you know, I've seen it a lot. And I don't know if I want to sit. Do I want to sit through this? Will I? Probably for the sake of the podcast. You know, do I want to? I don't know.
I would like to respond to that right away because, like, you made me think. I have interacted with this story 4 times in the past 7 years.
Yeah,
and I do want to say, though, oddly enough, the time I enjoyed it the most was the Flash CW series. I just want to put that out there, and maybe it's because it had enough room to breathe, because the whole point of Flashpoint is like, look at everything that's different. Look at what you did. And like the show actually goes into like, yo, like, is this really what you want? And he's like, yep. And you have like 6 episodes where he's just in bliss.
Yep.
Then someone's like, oh, negative plot point 1. And you're like, oh no. And like, I feel like it's really hard. To communicate that in a movie. The DC animated movie Flashpoint kind of goes off the rails in the second act, in my opinion. It turns into something that is not Flashpoint to me. And the graphic novel tells just a really focused story just on Barry. And I think it succeeds in that format. So I am a little hesitant of it being in a movie, but for me, I want to see what they have. Like, I'm excited to see this. I would see this opening weekend.
Sure, that's fair. And I will say this. I will answer that question. I think it's interesting that you are relying so heavily, kind of to Marcus's point, and don't get me wrong, like of the DC superheroes, Batman tends to be one that I like more. Not to tell anybody else why they should like. I'm not going to argue that with anybody, but I do think that.
You talking about me?
No, just in general. Like, I'm just saying broadly for the broadly for the universe. Any tension you're feeling is accidental. But I would say that I don't feel. It feels weird to say, like, we're making a Flash movie, and in your 30-second trailer rely so heavily on that Michael Keaton Batman nostalgia.
Not just Michael Keaton. It seems like they mentioned the Ben Affleck. I couldn't tell whose cow that was.
Oh,
and
sure.
Then the over-the-shoulder shot of Batman. And the tease of the car.
Yep. It felt really strange to me to lean so long into that.
Yeah.
But to its credit, it intrigued the shit out of me. And if I get a slightly longer trailer and if they can keep me intrigued, yeah, I'll be excited to see this. Just to see what they did, just to see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious enough to want to sit through it.
Well, and I guess, like, if it were me, I just had to get this out of my system. If I was putting that Flash trailer together, I would have put it all together, and then like just take out the Batman stuff, and then once you do all like the finishing and the date or whatever, have that be the last stinger image.
Yeah,
like, you can do it that way and still have it focused on Flash. It just. This trailer was, I feel like it was half Flash, half Batman.
It really was.
It was bizarre to me, to be honest.
This one trailer tells 3 different stories. So there's Batman, main Flash, side Flash, and then Supergirl. So it poses 4 different questions on, okay, why is the background Flash wearing Bruce Wayne's cowl with a Flash symbol painted on it? Okay, why does this Flash have a CGI new suit? Okay, why is Supergirl in the background? So like, it's like there's a lot of moving
so
pieces.
Much.
There's a lot of moving pieces, which is what this is supposed to be about. Because I remember watching Comic-Con, and you know, I remember. Here's flashback, real quick. We watched Transformers. Still a movie that holds up very well.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
it holds up
that
very
first one,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah, it was, you know, that movie, except for Jazz and the Pontiac and the black voice. They're not a fan of that. But so that movie holds up well. I remember the teaser for that movie though, when they're on the rover and they show the 14-second clip of the Mars rover roaming on Mars.
Oh yeah,
and it shows like
one of them walking up.
Yeah, one of it walking up crushes, and it just has a date, or it has rollout or something like that, something related to Transformers.
No, it had the release date. Yeah,
it was released. I love those moments. I look back to Marvel and how they do their Hall H stuff, and they do this big build up for this 10-second moment of something. I miss that because this trailer gave me everything. It showed me what the suit looked like. It showed me like there was no anticipation for it. Because I was kind of waiting for the movie to see the suit.
There's no intrigue. There's no suspense, and I think that that's just interesting. That your arc is like you don't want to build any suspense and make people hold it for that long. And I think that that's the problem when you have things that are not finished, right? Like because like we have a loose release date, but I think studios in light of COVID are really careful not to commit themselves to the release date. Because we don't want them to have to hold that suspense for that long. So we'll give them a little bit more, hoping it can tide them over. When in my mind, and to Marcus's point, like I would rather you keep it super suspenseful. And I mean, you know what would have been a great teaser for this because I rewatched the Michael Keaton Batman. Do the same suit up sequence that he did at the end of Batman, but have it be red and have it be at the Flash suits, and just at the end it's a date. Like that's all you needed to build that level of suspense.
The nipple scene, the nipple dress up.
Is Keaton the one with nipples? That was George Clooney.
That was George Clooney.
Yeah, but they do a suit. They do well. I think
remember that, Brian.
There's always there's firm buns.
That movie is burned into my memory.
Yeah, and in Batman Returns, he gets one of his suits off of a coat rack in a closet.
He does.
Does he really?
He absolutely does.
He does. He has a closet full of suits on a hanger.
Yep.
Yeah, I vividly remember that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, So that's all good points about the Flash.
I'm excited. I think it'll be enjoyable.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think this is a good time, unless there's something else that you all want to talk about, to touch on maybe Aquaman and Shazam, and then pivot over to the Batman. So we kind of got the same treatment with the Flash that we got with Aquaman. What I will say is it was absolutely better executed, and I really appreciate the behind the scenes stuff and seeing the relationship between Jason Momoa and James Wan, the director. Their relationship was really, really cool to see that like flushed out and kind of developed, and he was like genuinely excited to work with him because I trust Jason. Like I trust Jason Momoa for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's
I get it. He's very trustworthy for some reason.
I don't know if it's his face or what. Like I
feel like he could come up to me in the middle of the street, be like, "Hey, look, your mom's hurt. You got to come with me right now." Be like, "Okay."
Yeah. Or if he'd be one of those strangers that if it was a difficult moment, he said like, "Hey man, do you mind if I hug you?" Most people I'd say no, but I'd be like, "Yeah, okay." Like it would be it would be a reluctant type of hug.
Anyway, back to Aquaman. So the shit was kind of cool. I don't know how we got on this. We just trusted motherfucker.
Jason Momoa. He's a trustworthy dude.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know this motherfucker like that. That just
I'd think about kissing him on a first date. Let's just leave it. I just want to see what Marcus would do with that. But you're right. No, I thought it was really interesting. I'm particularly curious about the plot line of this movie, though.
Well, I can tell you what I think it is because Jason Momoa hinted at it.
Okay.
Because he is producing or helped write this movie, if I understand correctly. I think it's going to have something to do with global warming because the thing freezing, the water freezing, then melting. He's got to team up with his brother. He's got to team up with all of these people. I think it's going to be partially about the world changing and shifting, like weather-wise. So now that he's the king, now he gets to see the effects of the world from the other side. And now he's got to like deal with that as king on how he's going to protect his people. And because I know Jason Momoa is a person who cares about the environment. So of course he's going to use this stage to address global warming, the seas rising or seas lowering, heating up, that kind of thing. So that's what I took from that segment.
Okay, that's fair. Brian, same feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be great. I think if that is the direction we're going, I would love that because I think one of my biggest critiques of these superhero films is that they have such a large platform and they're always it always seems like they're super scared to like actually say something. And go back to our Falcon and the Winter Soldier podcast episode if you really want me to tear into that. So
go back to the show though.
I hope that is the case because I feel like this would be the perfect platform for it. From the behind the scenes stuff and the concept art, like I have no idea what to expect from this film, but I also know that like watching the first, I mean, if you're doing Aquaman and like the first Aquaman and it just do that again with a different story, I'm okay with that too, because
that was
Aquaman,
good.
I don't know how they did it, but it was this super weird combination of like Star Wars and Captain Planet and like
it's true.
Avatar kinda.
Oh, I got Avatar vibes from this, like from that
from the new one,
like with a dash of the Mummy in the desert with him and not Hera. Yeah, Hera. Yeah. And it worked, and I'm totally into that. So like do that again. That's fine. And everything that I've seen from the behind the scenes stuff, it looks like we're gonna get our wild monsters. Looks like there's gonna be a giant battle sequence, and it looks like there's gonna be some like creature that we don't fully understand, and there's gonna be some castle intrigue is the best way I can describe it. So basically what I'm trying to say is it looks like more of the first movie, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I could see. I think Marcus, you're right, because he does say like explicitly, he's like, got to deal with the planet that's at risk. Like he says that like in the first like 30 seconds. He's like, got to deal with a planet that's at risk. So my prediction is it's global warming. He has to, like you said, he has to team up with his brother. And then I think Black Manta gets approached to say like for some evil plot, and he signs up for it as a way to say, well, this will call out Aquaman and give me my shot to take him down.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be the plot for this. But I am very excited about Black Manta in this entirely. Like the still images of him look really, really, really cool.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Him in the first one, I wasn't really too impressed with.
Sure.
Because I feel like it was kind of squeezed or squozed, depending on where you're from, into this fuller story.
Sure.
And he wasn't really able to be his character wasn't able to really be flushed out like that. Like I felt like that's just me though. Because Black Manta in the comic books is a bad motherfucker.
Oh, he absolutely
like
is.
He is bad. Like kill people, children bad.
Yeah.
So like I guess that's what I was anticipating, but it was only the first movie. So I'm hoping they dive into it and they don't make it like, oh, look at Black Manta and Aquaman. They're really just best buds. Like, no, this motherfucker does not like you. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
But I'm also interested, before we get to Shazam real quick, where Aquaman ties into the fuller universe. Sure. Like, is there another Justice League movie coming? Is Aquaman standing on its alone, like it's lonesome, like the Batman movie? Where does this happen? What happens after Flash? Like, I'm interested in seeing that because Jason Momoa can't play Aquaman forever. And so how much longer can you do this? Does he come back? Those are the questions that kind of popped up with this one.
Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, to me watching this, it does not feel like they really care about fitting in to the larger universe. So my feeling is like, hey, you want to make a trilogy? Great. If you want to have Jason Momoa in your other films, I'm sure he'd be down because he looks like he's having the time of his life.
He's trustworthy.
And he's also very trustworthy. So that's, I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't think that extended universe is on their radar.
I don't think it is either.
And I think one of the reasons why that all of us who like the Justice League, I think all of us that should be sad, is I think the bullshit with the first go around is going to make them very hesitant to touch it again.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Hell no. I think that they are itching to do it again. I think that they are. Yes. I think the Flash movie is an excuse to either do something else other than the Snyderverse or to create their own verse with whatever heroes that they want to. So to kind of say, acknowledge, they can use this movie to acknowledge the original Joss Whedon cut and acknowledge the Snyderverse and acknowledge all of these other multiverses with the Flash.
Yep.
And then they're really trying to dive into doing their own version of the Justice League. And then versus whoever that is, I have no idea if it's Black Adam or whoever it is, but like, you know, I think that they are itching. I think that they know they have a money maker with Justice League.
Okay.
And
I agree.
I was making that solely off of the fact that the Restore the Snyderverse like hashtag got so many tweets immediately after and surrounding Fandome.
Because nobody knows what they're doing.
It's hard. They don't, but it's hard. I feel like it's hard for this is just my impression, so I could be wrong. It's hard for a studio, I feel like, to see that and feel really, really confident or comfortable right now. Maybe down the road that confidence comes. But for me, if I'm the person who's like feeding them like their social updates, like I would say like, no, we still can't get rid of that hashtag. Like we're going to have to give it at least another year in order for that to die down. So.
I mean, the way that Green Lantern has been flipping radioactive for them, I'm sure they'll approach it with the same patience. By the way, there are no Green Lantern updates, which I think is
that's what I thought.
Just unreal.
It also makes me mad because I like Green Lantern. Like I
love Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And one bad movie and they tank the whole like franchise for 10 years. Come on. In any case, I did have a point here, but I got mad about
okay, Brian. It's okay.
Brian, you're podding. You give yourself a pass.
I think for the Justice League, I think they're gonna put that. They're gonna let that be for another. I'd say at bare minimum 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Ideally, before they even think about what they want to do, because I don't even know. You don't even know who they would all pull from at this point.
Yeah, that's
true. Have to recast pretty much everybody now.
And I feel like they could have a special moment, and people would totally criticize them for copying Marvel What If, but I feel like people would be really excited if they were able to pull in people from all these different universes, even if they didn't immediately connect. Like having the Robert Pattinson Batman with the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman and Flashpoint Flash. Like I feel like you could do some fun stuff there to make your own Justice League and make it distinctively different. But
which is what the CW Flash show did when they had their big multiverse crossover. They introduced the multiverse, then introduced their own version of Justice League, which then in turn those shows all got canceled. Black Lightning, Supergirl, all of Arrow, all of these shows that they.
Do we want to say canceled? I mean, they all ran their course. I mean, the Arrowverse.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, it's both. The Arrowverse is done. I think they're past that. Now it's like Stargirl and Superman and Lois. They're the ones that are leading that because they're a little bit more serious and they're not as, goofy, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay. Well, Shazam 2 was also announced, and we got some Zachary Levi shared some behind the scenes stuff with that. Again, not like a super big trailer, but you got some art that they used. I can't remember what that is, but they got some like art. Yeah, it's a concept art. Couldn't remember the word. You got some concept art of different locations. You got to see Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren. And so just thoughts on this particular announcement from the weekend.
I didn't care.
Yeah, I kind of felt
really.
No, I didn't care. The first Shazam was cool. Don't get me wrong. And I think it was good that they did the Super Family, Shazam family at the end. What I think is interesting is you go into a second movie with the Shazam family. Like, I know that that's a part of his arc.
Yep.
But you never does he get to develop his own on his own as a hero? So, and then you have Black Adam. And now I'm trying to figure out, okay, where the fuck is Zachary Levi fighting The Rock? We know who's winning that fight in real life. So like I don't know. I just wasn't as interested. Shazam, the way that they went about this Shazam, which was like more funny than it was him actually being a hero in my eyes in the first one. This is just my personal opinion.
Sure.
I haven't rewatched that movie since I watched it.
Sure.
It's not bad. It's not. It's like it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also
like charging the phone with your finger. Like, oh, okay. Look at that guy flossing as a grown man.
I hope that the second one like leans into the playfulness of the first one, because I remember really liking that, because I felt like the humor and the lightheartedness of the first one was not like overdone or obnoxious. Like I remember like really enjoying it. So I hope that they can keep that and maintain that while it's still being a little bit more serious. But Marcus, you're right. Like it does feel like the two of them are on a collision course with one another.
They have to be at this point.
They have to
Spider-Man Venom situation.
Yeah.
It would be weird for them to go Black Adam versus Superman, which you want to see two big brawling motherfuckers going at it. Henry Cavill versus The Rock is the movie for me.
Right.
Like, okay,
that's
yeah,
true.
like Superman versus Black Adam, which it happens in the comic books, and we know how that goes down. But like the one that makes the most sense, which they also referenced at the end of the first Shazam, is Black Adam versus Shazam.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a very, very good point.
I don't know. I think you bring up a good point, Marcus, of like, well, what's the story if he's got the super family? Because that raises some questions here. But I also feel like I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt at this point because this feels like a superhero movie that was just fun. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Just straight out of the bat, fun.
Mm-hmm,
I'm willing to go with them. I also really like Lucy Liu. I'm a sucker for her. I think she's really talented.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just I'm excited to see what they come up with, and I feel like that family dynamic. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with that. Whether it's trust, whether it is working as a team, whether it is talking about power is best shared. I think all of that can be all of that story can be told, and in a time when like we're hyped about a Peacemaker series, like I think a Shazam movie is a good counterpoint, a good counterbalance to all that.
I guess that's what I'm not looking forward to is that family story with the typical family dynamic.
Right.
Hey, you're getting too big for your britches. Like, we're a team. We're a Shazam family. Like, oh, like you can't tell me what to do. I'll be Shazam on my own. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, come on, man. Like, fight something. Throw something at a wall.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And especially given the stakes for many of these other movies, like that does feel a little like
and it's not as dark. So that's the other thing is like, it's not as dark of a movie. It's clearly more of a kid's movie, it feels like, right?
I think that's what goes along with the lightheartedness. I agree.
Like, so they're not gonna. So to me, I can't see them diving deep into this. Yo, think about it. Shazam is a kid. When he says Shazam, he turns into a superhero. That alone, the mental toll of that as a kid having the responsibility of a man is wild as hell to me.
Yeah.
And like I feel like we should be looking at that more, but like this is also me not now. Don't get it twisted, y'all. I'm gonna be watching all these movies I'm bitching and complaining about. I'm gonna watch them all. And I'm gonna enjoy them. But it's like this is me just as a DC fan wanting more for and hoping that I'm wrong.
Yeah,
like I'm hoping that I'm wrong when I watch this stuff.
Yeah, that's fair, and I think that's fair for you though to say that, like especially given your affinity for the content matter, like to say like this is just something that I want more of, and that's good context to have. And I will say that what I noticed from a lot of these announcements before we sort of pivot over to Black Adam and to Batman, like one of the things I noticed is that they all have a common producer, and I don't know if you all noticed it, but
Jeff Johns?
No, it's not. The same dude kept showing up in all of these announcements, and it took me watching them like back to back to go like that's the same motherfucker from Peacemaker, like, and no, that's the same dude from like, and I kept doing it, and I did a little bit of digging, and the man's name is Peter Safran, and he has been producing movies since 1997.
Yep.
And he has been involved in the business for a while, and he has some hits and he has some misses.
Name the misses first.
Okay, we'll do the misses first. He was responsible for Senseless, scary movie. He was responsible for Meet the Spartans, disaster movie. He was responsible for Vampires Suck, which was another one of those. He was responsible for The Starving Games.
He did all of these movies that we see on Netflix.
Is The Starving Games what I think it is?
It is a play on the Hunger Games. Yep, it is.
No, I didn't. Oh, I shouldn't have Googled it.
But then you should have. But then if you pair that, he also was involved with like The Conjuring. He was responsible with Annabelle. He was responsible for The Conjuring 2, the Belko Experiment.
Belko Experiment's a good movie.
Yeah,
I've wanted to see that for a while.
He was responsible for the Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. He worked on the James Gunn Suicide Squad.
He's like 50-50.
Yeah, so exactly. He's kind of 50-50, but it's cool because he's been involved in this. So he was involved in the first Aquaman and the first Shazam, and basically after the Suicide Squad, he's involved in Peacemaker, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Aquaman, and a couple others, which I don't quite know anything about, just that don't have release dates yet. But I think that's just interesting, and I think hopefully that means that DC's trying to build some type of shared vision with a producer involved, but we'll kind of see where it goes from there. Brian, are you looking at a trailer for Vampires Suck?
No, I was laughing because I couldn't believe that the Starving Games, like the literal promo stuff for it, is in this Hunger Games spoof. Can't miss Evershot must fight for her life in the 75th annual Starving Games, where she could also win an old ham, a coupon for a footlong and a partially eaten pickle. And I'm like, that you put that in the world, like you did that.
He's 50-50, Brian.
He really is.
Judge him for his losses, praise him for his wins.
I've seen I know he's really close, like with DC. I've never done an interrogation of his producing credits, and here we are.
Can't miss Evershot.
Eating pickles.
Can't miss Evershot.
Can't miss every. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it is really cringy. I can't look at the rest of his stuff. I
can't look at the rest of it.
Brian is shooketh.
He is shooketh. So let's get to the last, like what I'll call the last two big announcements, with one being definitely a lowercase, like big announcement, and that being Black Adam. When compared to Batman, still a big announcement. But when compared to Batman,
don't tell The Rock. He'll tell you.
You know what? I've been asking him to show up with his bag of weights for years. So. And it's just proved to me that he's not going to. So I feel comfortable taking shots. I mean, I've taken shots of his tequila. I'm ready for what he's bringing.
I love him.
Yeah, I do too. I really do. But Black Adam, we got a teaser, but it was like a 45-second clip that was sort of a hybrid between both like concept art but also real, like a live footage too. What was y'all's reaction of the Black Adam
footage? Doug, what was your reaction?
Here was my reaction. My reaction was, oh, cool. Good for you. Like that's kind of how it was. And I say that's what it was because it was like, oh, that looks really, really cool. But I'm kind of waiting for the delivery on the promise, because he keeps saying like the power is going to change, like the power structure in the DC universe is going to change. That's going to change.
I don't understand what that means.
And I don't understand.
It means he's replacing Superman. It means he's going to be the biggest, strongest in tights motherfucker in the DC universe because Henry Cavill ain't coming back.
Right. And it feels that way. And again, I feel like I'm kind of tired of like anti-heroes. I'm kind of like tired of them. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to say like I'm not going to appreciate this or that I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of this because one, he probably trained so much that the dude is just going to look jacked as hell, and that alone in and of itself is going to be something impressive to behold. But it's just weird that we keep doing the anti-hero thing, expecting like a different result, like for them to let us down or for it to be a true like transformation. And it's kind of exhausting. That's kind of how I feel about it going into it.
Yeah. I mean,
the trailer was cool.
And it looks cool, and I'll probably enjoy the hell out of it, but I'm tired of the anti-hero story.
I mean, I don't know. Here's why I'm confused. I know The Rock. He has like, I don't know if he made like a blood oath with some spirit or something. like is someone holding your family hostage because you've been talking about this movie and this character is like the late 2000s. I remember him talking about this like in interviews of like, oh, I want to play Black Adam. And everyone's like, huh? And like, he wasn't cast till 2014. And then 7 years later, here we are. And I look, if this is his dream to play Black Adam, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to be supportive of that. As a fan of comics, I've never, and maybe this is telling on me, but I've never met anyone when I'm like, hey, like, who's your favorite character? Never once have I ever heard anyone say, oh, you know who I get jazzed about? Black Adam. Never, ever. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. I've heard Shazam a few times. I've never heard Black Adam.
Do you hear a lot of Dr. Fate too? Do you hear a lot of people be like, you know what? Who I want to see? I want to see Dr. Fate
out here selling the hell.
Oh, he
Black
was
Adam.
Yeah,
like it is. There's two things. If you have to watch two things from Fandome, all right, there's three, but one of them is Pierce Brosnan doing the sit-down interview for Black Adam, and he's like, "This is the most intense film I've worked on as Dr. Fate," and like. I'm like,
dude, you was James Bond.
You were James Bond, man.
Steel, like you worked on Mamma Mia that had dancing. Like, come on. But like, I don't know if I'm the audience for this or what. But I'm just like, okay, Black Adam, I'm ready to see it. I got. Yeah. You've talked about it for so long. I'm just a little bewildered still.
Yeah, Dwayne, blink twice if you're okay.
Yeah, like who's making you do this? Like you don't have to say he's your favorite.
Who took the portrait you kept in your attic, Dwayne? Like who kept that?
I mean, I'm not trying to be down on it. It's just on a left field for me.
No, I feel like here's the thing about Black Adam as a character.
Go for it.
He's sprinkled in a little bit of everything,
right?
And does in fact, depending on how he's written, is a savior amongst his people. And it's like he's one of those, like, I think he is the epitome of an anti-hero. Because his whole biggest thing is, I'm here to protect my people. I'm not here to pick fucking sides. Even in when Justice League and Injustice, like he picked sides based off of what benefited his people.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I remember correctly, if did Superman kill all those people in Qatar? Like, I can't remember, but like it was, but he picked the side that benefited his people. And so what I think is interesting is that it is The Rock. Like, can The Rock be a superhero?
Yeah.
That's, and we'll have to wait and see when the movie comes out. The trailer obviously looks good because this dude is fucking massive. Him picking up one person or one, and it looks great. The material of the suit looks awesome, but where are we going? What's the direction of this thing?
Yeah.
Well, and it has the type of like he is gonna will this into existence come hell or high water, and I respect that. I absolutely respect that. I didn't get the hype for it. I'm curious to see how it fits in. I just need to see a little bit more to understand where this is going.
You look at this movie, and then I look at the Shazam trailer, and I'm just like, somebody's missing somebody. Like two people in the same universe using the same word are missing people, and I just don't understand. Like, one was dark; he burned the guy with lightning, choked his ass, and burned him with lightning. And the other one, the guy charged somebody's cell phone with his finger. We're missing something.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, because I'm not up to date, but Shazam and Black Adam, I feel like some of the mythology surrounding them, it was like they were diametrically opposed at all times because one was peace and one was chaos. I feel like that's what it was at the beginning, and then it morphed into the thing that happened to Spider-Man and Venom of like, oh, well, Black Adam's kind of cool, so we need to make him like a little more likable. Like
they're like from the same
character. We don't know what to do.
You know what? Put anti in front of it and make him an anti-hero.
He just makes bad decisions, but he's a good guy. Okay.
Can we do the same thing with Dr. Doom? Yeah. Absolutely not.
Genocide is fine as long as it's for his people, right? And he's like hero. Jesus Christ. But yes. So I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think, Rock? I don't know. The Rock is gonna, because he's also Crypto in the fucking Super Pets movie.
It's true.
And so I'm like, motherfucker. Like you and DC have some type of fucking agreement, blood oath, or whatever the fuck y'all got going on. Like you got one movie with Super Pets and another with Black Adam. Next thing you know, he's gonna be talking about, hey y'all, I'm the new Superman. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. All those years that he sends like Jeff Johns a bottle of tequila have paid off because he is getting
got him
all
drunk
of the
inside
money.
the contract.
Right, basically.
There you go.
I also want to have a moment of reflection here. I'm saying all this, but I'm sure he's going to be great and super charming in some way or another in this movie. It just, honestly, at this point, if Dwayne Johnson wanted to muscle his way in, pun fully intended, into like controlling the DC universe, I can absolutely see that happening.
He managed to muscle his way into a rap song, so I'm not surprised he's able to do this too.
That was the wildest music video I've ever seen.
That's the wildest shit I've ever heard.
Wait, I don't know about this.
So confused.
Oh, you don't?
The Rock did a song with Tech Nine.
Tech Nine. Face Off is the name of the song, I feel like.
Yep, it is. And he goes, and at the end of the music video, it's The Rock rapping and then bragging about how he did that shit in one take while drinking his own tequila.
No. Yeah. No, right Brian. We'll send it to you. It's insane.
I mean, I Googled it. I see the thumbnail. I'm scared to click it. I don't know.
Don't let my video I sent you earlier today impact your decision with this one.
Jesus Christ.
Don't let that impact it. It's fine. This one's fine.
The TikTok algorithm chose a poor time to like not function correctly and show me an inappropriate video multiple times that Doug had shared in the group. I don't know what I was getting into. And I clicked it and I was like, oh, this is gross. And then it just kept popping up every time I opened TikTok. And I was like, I hate it, Doug. I hate it every time I open TikTok.
And I was in tears laughing because I didn't mean to ruin your day. I just had a lot of questions and I trust y'all to help me answer them.
I didn't feel like I could open the app in like a public place. It was disgusting. In any case, Black Adam, sure. That's
okay. Yep. That's, I mean, Marcus is like last little sign up where he was like, yep, what? It's whatever. Like that's just a great way to put a nice little like glaze on the end. Sure. All right. We've been putting it off for too long. Let's talk about Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, and the Batman. We got a full 2-minute, 22-second trailer with this.
Long, and that wasn't even a whole movie.
It was intense. So go out and watch it if you haven't watched it yet. But gentlemen, initial reactions when you first watched the trailer.
God damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched when they released the trailer from last year's DC Fandome, I watched that shit at least 10 times.
Oh, easy.
And so, because I was just like, man, there's so many different shots in here. Look at the fucking, like, oh my God. But there was something special about this one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just Selena Kyle or Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, because good Lord, amen. And so look at Brian.
No, don't look at me. This is an audio format. Long.
But I don't know what I was expecting out of this Robert Pattinson as Batman, but for some reason I'm on board.
Yeah.
I'm on board. I'm on board. And this movie had a lot of great, I mean, this trailer alone, if anybody took their fucking time with DC Fandome and having something to present, this was the student. Matt Reeves is the A student in class that was like, no.
Yeah.
We're not just going to do it. We're going to do it fucking right.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I feel like he kind of did the same thing that like the Flash did, but he did that last year where he was like, kind of threw something together and it was like a minute and a half. And we were all like, you threw that together? That looks like fucking sweet. Like, and at the time he had only shot half of it. So we were like, God damn.
Yeah.
So I think the stakes for him were for the whole project were really, really high, but man, they nailed that out of the park.
Yeah, they did good. They showed us a little bit of everybody and everything without giving anything away.
Yeah.
We saw the Riddler, didn't hear a mumbling word from him, saw Zoe Kravitz, didn't really know what, the relationship or what it's going to be. Like you could guess from the comics or whatever. And then you see Penguin and Penguin, Farrell don't even look like himself.
He does not.
Bro.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
Like
you can see it in his eyes, but that's about it.
Like, oh my God. And like the accent, everything in it is amazing. Robert Pattinson looked like he really drove himself insane.
That's perfect. That is, he does look like he went through a significant mental anguish to get here.
Well, and Andy Serkis understanding the assignment. Andy Serkis understanding the assignment of like, you're here to basically try to beg and plead that he not just destroy himself. And that is I mean, you have to understand that to be Alfred, which I really, really appreciated.
Well, and I also appreciated the fact that this really feels like they weren't afraid to be like, yeah, there's some stuff that works here with Batman, and you're gonna see that combined with some new stuff, because it feels like this environment from like the Burton films is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
Just kind of like this, like I don't even know how to describe it perfectly, but it's almost like picturesque in how dilapidated everything is. Like in the Nolan movies, it was very much like, this is Chicago. Like okay, it's Chicago. This is how it looks. Okay? I can say that I live in the area. Yeah. And so it has this like very formulaic, dilapidated feel to it, which I really enjoy, but it has the style of Nolan, which I think is a really good marriage. And these characters already seem so vibrant in a 2-minute trailer. Selena Kyle, like Zoe Kravitz, I feel like has a really good moment. Like, I think it's very possible she's going to have an incredible performance here as Selena Kyle. Like, I think that is very possible based on what we've seen here. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm jacked for it too. And to your point, Brian, like Tim Burton always used to put like his like artistic element into everything, so everything was a little twisted and kind of creepy, and you really see that in Batman Returns, and even to the end of the first Keaton Batman, where Joker's doing his parade down Main Street. But I feel like I've always felt like the Arkham games have done such a great job of portraying Gotham up until I saw this footage. And then I went, yep, this is it. Like, this is, they finally like got it great, because no one always felt too corporate. And I think that was kind of the point he was trying to make with it too, of like, with that. But I think this one was much more like, no, there's shit going on here that like you need to be aware of.
Well, Matt Reeves said that though, like, and you can tell from the trailer, Batman is using his intellect. Like, there's a portion he's standing in the middle of this thing trying to figure this whole thing out. Like, he's using brute force and brains. It ain't a whole lot of big gadgets. He's driving a regular motherfucking muscle car that he made. And like, it is definitely, it's more so either The Long Halloween or Batman Year One. It's one of the other, or a combination of the two, clear as day, I think, to me. The dialogue will really be telling on, like, if it is or if it's not, because the thing about Long Halloween is Batman never solved that crime. So, like, I mean, it actually turned out they dropped several times where it was like, hey buddy, you need to be a better detective. Like, you actually
like explicitly, like, you're bad at this part.
You gotta
do better.
Batman was like, god damn it. And then you have Robert Pattinson punching the window like, what did you do? And I'm like, damn. I'm like, whoa, calm down.
Right. Like, he took notes from Christian Bale and he's like, all right, I'll make it my own. And then he just did it.
So shout out to that. It looks really good. Now, here's the question I got. Is Batman bulletproof?
That was my question.
Because there was a lot of scenes in there where two machine guns to the fucking chest, and this motherfucker didn't budge.
I always felt like it was body armor, so like it could maybe stop a bullet, but he'd be pretty beat up from having to stop it. Like, I've always taken it that way, but this one was it's had a much more metallic-y sound, like they were bouncing off.
It does feel
very
like
nitpicky though.
No, I don't think it is, because to me it feels like there is some inspiration being drawn from the Arkham games, even if they'll never say it.
Yes,
because the environments do feel very Arkham-y with Tim Burton. And I feel like that suit, when I first saw stills of the suit, I was like, they totally copied Arkham's Homework. Like, that's
that's true.
Like, it's this metal, like, and if you're not familiar with the Arkham games, let me explain. Like, basically, they're metal plates that all like shift into each other. So they're all interlocking plates, so that no matter what position Batman is in, you can't see it. But Marcus and Doug are seeing me move my arms like I'm.
And you know what? We're not questioning it. We're not questioning it. We're just like,
I'm just enjoying. Like,
that's how you fight Joker.
I'm going the Hugh Jackman route. Okay, I'm gonna do everything so you hear it in my voice. But whatever the case might be, it's phalanxed in a manner that he's always protected. And so that's the vibe I got when I saw the suit. And then the trailer, I was like, okay, like, I've seen this before. I'm going to put it in this category of like,
that's a good
thing is bulletproof, but it's probably heavier. And I feel like if we're going with a more methodical Batman, I feel like that fits. I also feel like if you're Batman and you're like, I'm the Dark Knight and all criminals hate me in a crime-ridden city, I'm going to have a bulletproof suit.
Which makes the fucking... I mean, and then Well, then that brings to like other bat suits, right? It's never really explained what is what. I mean, you'll have like in the beginning, he was like, "What is this rubber?" With the original, Mekhi Phifer, and then you have in the Christopher Nolan version. Is it Mekhi Phifer? It's not
Michelle Pfeiffer. It's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mekhi
Phifer is a very different movie.
Pfeiffer is a different person.
I was like,
isn't that a man?
Something.
Yes, it is a man.
It is.
He was in.
He was gonna wear a catsuit.
He was the guy who hosted the rap battles in 8 Mile.
he was an ER.
That's why when you said Mekhi Phifer, I was like, that's a very different movie.
He definitely was not in a catsuit, but I mean, he could be. Whatever do you think, man? I don't think shame.
You.
But yeah, the bat suits in like Nolan's version, they really went into depth when they went with the first suit, the rubber suit, and then they went back into depth again when they was like, I need something lighter. And I need to be able to turn my head. And so like this one has a collar on the fucking cape. The mask is what's throwing me off because I like it sometimes and then I hate it sometimes because it literally looks like it's just a leather mask he pulls over his face.
Yeah.
But the lighting in this thing, it's not all dark. You have some scenes in the trailer that are like, fuck, either the fire is like making it a beautiful yellow or the sunset is like making it a beautiful yellow or red. Like the scene where he has the flare and he's guiding people to, I was like, fuck, man. Like, I was like, this thing is
the visual sense is like once you think you've seen everything with Batman, man, this just has a visual flair I can't say I've seen anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true. And it is sort of becoming that for like directors who really fell in love with the source material, for them to be like, if I accomplish anything, I really want to tell this story well. And so far from what we've seen, Matt Reeves is doing an outstanding job with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the balance, my last thing, the balance between his Bruce Wayne and his Batman. His Batman seems to have it all together. His Bruce Wayne looks fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's the one I would avoid on the street.
Yeah, like I was like, man, are you rich or are you homeless? Like, which one is it?
But that's very much the struggle of a young Bruce Wayne as he leans too far into Batman and can't balance it. And it's only when he realizes that he has to do both to be successful that he really reaches his full potential. So
I'm curious. It does. The more we talk about it, the more I'm getting year one vibes, and I can base this on nothing, and I'm not trying to stir it up, but I'm wondering if in this movie he's like gonna kill somebody, and like,
oh sure,
they said he gets close.
Gonna be a major plot point, and he's like, oh, I can't do this, and then other people are gonna be like, well, he killed someone. He's not Batman. In any case, we can have that discussion when this movie releases, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Brian, I agree with you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I can say this also is that, and I know this one hasn't come out yet and we haven't seen it yet, but man, if they pull this off like I think that they're going to, I would love to see a Matt Reeves Long Halloween live action.
Oh man,
that would be
if they are adapting Long Halloween, I think we're in for a treat. I don't know if they are, but yeah, if they get there, that'd be amazing.
There were so many rumors that he's creating a universe based off of this, and that like
go for it,
more than a trilogy, like the trilogy, and then leading into other things. And I think that based off of this, he could do it if he develops the character the right way. You can create a Batman that is not super realistic like Nolan's.
Yeah,
you can have a Batman that is a balance of this is still a Batman without being like Nolan had to justify every fucking thing.
Yeah,
he did so hyper realistic.
He was like, everything is going to be grounded in science and business.
Yes, like here's a tank, and they used to use it in the military, but they don't use it no more. Bitch, this shit is working just fine for Batman. Why don't they use this in the military?
Right. Well, even in the last one, it's like, how do they make the bond? Nuclear fission can help be a reliable source of energy if we would just take the risk. Science and business.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. And this one is more like, no, Batman gonna fuck up sometimes because he really only wearing cargo pants and a fucking loop around his belt. Like,
right. Yeah. Yeah. Other thoughts on Batman before we close stuff out?
No, but I do have a point.
No.
There's two things that were really random to me about DC Fandome. One, they did Marcus's point. They did 10 minutes on Flash's gold boots in the CW series.
Okay, good. I'm glad you did that.
And if you watch the segment, so I watched the segment because I was like, Marcus has to be exaggerating. There's no way. No, he's right. He's absolutely right. I feel like I say this often on this podcast, and you think I'd learn that I'd just be like, okay, Marcus, and I had to see it for myself. And the segment is so painful. Like
even Grant Gustin don't want to be there.
Like Grant Gustin is so tired, and I was like, dude, you look like you need like a week's worth of sleep. I Googled him, and he just had a kid, so he's doing a CW show. He just had a kid. And then he gets shoved in front of a camera, and they're like, "Okay, we're doing DC Fandome. Talk about how excited you are about the gold boots." And he's like, "Hey, I'm here, and we're gonna talk about gold boots."
And I hear they tell me the show might be over
before we get to the next trailer. You know, like that was the vibe of it, and I was like, Grant Gustin, like, I hope for your sake they wrap this show soon because you just look like you could sleep for a year.
I don't think y'all understand. Brian is not underselling this. They literally, the big reveal at the end of Grant's segment, who was monotone the whole time.
Yeah, he was
a picture of the fucking just the boots, not Flash in the boots. They was like, and here's the boots for season 8. And I was like, this is how you're leading season 8 with being like, and we got the boots, y'all. Like, what the fuck?
You know what? It has this vibe of even DC being like, the Flash is the highest rated show of these Arrowverse shows, and you all keep watching it. Is this what you want? Like that's the vibe that it has.
It does feel like a participation trophy.
Like is this what you want? Like get out there, Grant. It's like, I don't know. It's like go watch the segment if you haven't. It's bizarre in the best ways. Grant Gustin, if you're listening, like I hope you can get some sleep. And we'd love to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Additionally, also they announced that they were doing a podcast format for like a new Batman show going into the Bat Dome, which is fine. Like it's whatever. We're doing a lot of audio dramas, but the weirdest thing to me about it was they had Candace Patton from The Flash be like, we have an announcement. And I was like, oh, we're doing another Flash announcement. And she's like, I'm going to turn it over to Batgirl. Yep. I was like, oh, okay. And like they cut to Gina Rodriguez. And if you're watching Fandome, everything is like in this perfectly manicured green screen. Mm-hmm. Like go watch the Dwayne Johnson Black Adam reveal to see what I'm talking about. It's all perfectly cut and contrasted. And then they cut to Gina Rodriguez, who I can best describe as like using Snapchat like outside to record this announcement that she's going to be Batgirl in the Spotify Batman.
Like at a Starbucks line. Like I have a Frappuccino for Gina. Like
honestly, that's kind of what it felt like. I would not have been surprised if she filmed it like just next to the line. I'm like, hey everybody. And it was just so bizarre because it was like, what? Like, could you not get in the studio? Could you not get studio time? Was this so last minute that they're like, whatever, just do it with your phone and we'll get up there? It was just very jarring. And I was flabbergasted and really happy at the same time because I've been there before putting events together. Like, I don't care. Have her film it on her phone and we'll put it on the screen. I don't care. We're done with it.
I don't give a shit. There has to exist something.
There has to be content.
Roll it out. Like,
roll it out before the Batman trailer. That's what it felt like.
Well, Candace Patton was specifically there. She was introduced right after Grant Gustin's gold boot segment.
Right.
As this is how she was introduced. And now we're going to introduce Candace Patton, who plays Grant Gustin's TV wife, Candace Patton. Is how they announced her. And then really zoomed over, and her only thing was to do what they call breaking news segments because she was Iris West and a reporter. So she announced transition to transition.
Got it. I did not pick up on that.
No. It's bad though, because I was like, fuck, like they literally had you on here just for that. Like,
I mean, and I follow her on socials, and like that shooting schedule is grueling. So what free time did they pull her from to be like, okay, now you're like Iris West, okay, get it?
And they both look pissed. Like you have to look at it. They both
were done
pissed.
I think we're going to have to start on this podcast giving out Grant Gustin's gold boots to recognize people's accomplishments. And the winner this week of Grant Gustin's gold boots, the Batman, for a kick-ass trailer.
That's what you want, right? That's what you want. The gold boots. Right. It's like that guy who can live forever no matter what, and he keeps trying to kill himself, but he's like, God damn it! Like I thought this was it. The Flash is just keeps like stabbing himself in the stomach like son of a bitch.
Season 9 of the Flash, dear Lord.
Oh Jesus!
That's all I had. I just wanted.
We didn't even mention the games. I just wanted to drop that real quick. That they did a cinematic trailer for Gotham Knights, and then they also did a cinematic trailer for, which very cinematic for a fucking video game. But they did a cinematic trailer for Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League as well.
Yeah,
it looked like a full-fledged movie.
Like those both look great.
Yeah.
Do we know when they're coming out though, Brian?
I mean, no. I mean, they had years. They had years on them. Which, again, if I was running the show, I don't know. You're not even gonna put December. I mean,
they announced this shit a year. They announced both these games a year ago.
Yeah,
and still had no fucking gameplay.
Yeah, you could have put fall, like a season. Yeah. I'd take a season. That's pretty broad.
I don't know. And I understand everything's getting backlogged. I get it, and you don't want to commit to anything. But man, it makes me lose confidence. Like when I'm watching something like this, and they're like, I don't know, next year, I guess. Then you're just kind of like, all right. I mean, I hope everything's going well. But I'm really tuned into the video game world and video game development. And I know that the longer the development cycle is, usually something's not right. Yeah. And this very well could be COVID. Like it very well could be, but it's just not a good look to like come back a year later and be like, hey, here we are. It's a fancier trailer.
It's true.
Like it's just not how I would approach like marketing a product.
That's also, that movie, the game Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is in the Arkham universe.
Yes, I believe so.
I think
so.
Right.
Like I think that they confirmed that those two exist in the same universe, which is very interesting to me.
There's a bat person in that trailer. I don't know if it's Batman though.
Right. So take that and do with that what you would.
That's very true.
Here's a gold boot for you.
Hey, and the winner of this week's Grant Gustin's gold boots is well, gentlemen, that was DC Fandome. Great job breaking that down. I really, really appreciate it. This has been great chatting with you all. What do you all have to plug for this particular week? Brian?
Hey, everybody, go check out thelovenerds.com, your recipes and lifestyle blog for all of your needs. And then I'm Brian. I am Brian.
You are Brian.
I am at Rogue Roush on TikTok. I took a little hiatus. I had some stuff going on, but now I'm back to publishing videos, still talking about Star Wars. And yeah, you can find me on TikTok at Rogue Roush.
Awesome. Marcus?
Hey, everybody, what's good? It's your boy Marcus J. Destin. Well, you never know what I'm gonna do next. The store gonna open. Store gonna open eventually. I got some shirts on the way, some personalized shirts they call Marcus Always Right. We just here, man. We just here.
Oh man.
No, I'm just kidding. Everybody, don't forget to follow the mantra, never offended, always humble. You know what I mean? You can follow me on Instagram at Marcus J. Destin. I don't really be doing nothing there but posting pictures, and sometimes I be rapping and such. So you know what I mean? Go stream, put time on it, and new music is on the way, new clothes is on the way. We got a whole lot.
That's right. Say it's okay to just be here. That's okay.
It's also okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. Don't let nobody put pressure on you to just you know what I mean? You just do what the fuck you want.
Okay. Yeah, like you're alive and present. That's enough.
You know what I told myself yesterday? I had an epiphany, right?
Okay.
I told myself yesterday, and this was a serious moment that I had with myself that I just thought was funny. But I told myself that before I'm unhappy in a job, and this had nothing to do with my current job, but before I was unhappy in a job or before I was unhappy in my life, I will go back to Subway and work 40 hours a week and do the minimum if it made me happy. Because for happiness is most important.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if I can do enough just to make ends meet and pay the bills and have a home over my head and have food in my stomach, I would rather do that and be happy than to sacrifice everything for something that does not supply me happiness.
That's a very good point. And I will also say this to kind of boost that. The time we have is short. Enjoy it.
Yep.
And if you're not going to enjoy it, then maybe we need to talk to you for a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to give you some gold boots, to find a way to make you enjoy it.
10-minute gold boot segment.
I feel like this entire conversation has been like having Grant Gustin in the back of our minds. Like, Grant,
it's okay.
Giving him a pick me up. Hey, Grant. How about we take a knee real quick?
Grant, take a knee. It's okay, man. Grant, you're gonna make it.
Candace, we know you got pulled out too. To just
Grant, you're never gonna be prepared for having a baby.
Everybody cast crew. Everybody let's just take a knee of the Flash. Everybody just circle around. Let's just take a knee.
You guys are gonna make it. What I have to plug this week is my annual reminder that it's weird to get Jack Skellington tattooed on your body. So if you
it's that time of the year.
It is that time of the year. So
if
you are floating around the world and it's close to Halloween, you're like, what type of spooky tattoo can I get? Please don't get Jack Skellington tattooed on your body.
Just the dog. Just get the dog Zero.
The dog is fine.
Like,
I'd take Oogie Boogie. That's fine too. Like,
that's creepy because he's just a bag.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Also, I'd like everybody to point out that you should dig into Tim Burton a little bit. That dude's kind of gross and a smidgen racist. So just everybody do your own reading on him, which is great.
Look, making faces at Doug.
I would also like to point out that I too am on TikTok.
I thought he was about to say I too am a smidgen racist. I was like, what the fuck?
I too. We all have our bouts. No, racism's unacceptable. But I too am on TikTok at Films in Black and White. I do silly things, and then also I'm in the middle of giving you inspirations for your favorite horror movies. So tune in to that. Also, sign up for the Patty family. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/films in black and white. We will be doing. I have all the candy purchased. We are ready to do our candy case showdown, and we will be announcing when that is coming. So, gentlemen, though, we have a 3-step process to success. Brian, what's the first step?
The first step is read a book. And you know what? Just like any book that brings you joy. That's it. Just a book that brings you joy. Read a book.
Yep, absolutely. The next step is to drink some water. Look, everybody, it's going to get drier. Winter always makes the air a little bit drier, and it's good to stay hydrated. Also, colds start floating around a little bit more. People getting sick. The best way to recover from an illness is to just drink a little bit more water. So make sure that you stay hydrated. Marcus, take us home with that last step to success.
There was something that made me itch during DC Fandome, and it was the Smallville panel. Okay, the Smallville 20th anniversary panel. I love Smallville, but looking at Tom Welling made me want to punch him in his fucking face because he always did that show wrong. And you know what resolved that? Me washing my ass. I had to just get that hatred and that gunk off me, and I had to take the time for myself to treat myself and say, Tom Welling, you won't get the best of me today, goddammit. I'm just gonna wash my ass. I had to put some soap up the crack of my ass and do a little woosah, called it a day. But I'm happy and I'm here now. So wash your ass.
We are thrilled, and it's always important. Next week we will be coming back watching Dune, breaking Dune down. So we'll do that. But in the meantime, and in between time, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will
go get yourself some gold boots.
And get yourself some gold boots. We will catch y'all next week.